Hey, crypto pirates, welcome to your Discourse Syndicate. Captain RG3 here, steering the ship. How in the hell is everybody doing tonight? So fired up for this show. One of my crypto hexagon heroes who I don't see much of around here, but he's got his own stream and his own deal to own busy to be. And man, I just love this guy. He does a morning show on Saturdays. I get my coffee, hang out with him on Saturday mornings. Either I'm doing a walk or a workout or something, and always enjoy listening to my brother Big Pep. So I'll bring him up in a second, but let me say hello to the chat room. Wake Dog was first in line tonight. What's up, Wake Dog? Identity Block, Joe Hazotic. Hey, man, I put her up there for you. Anyway, what do you want with that tramp anyway? Hey, what's up, Pay Me Hex? Yep, looking forward to this stream tonight too. Yep, George Chops, welcome. Chris Hoopert, yep, Big Pep is on DS. Who else? So you've got Bran. Yep, what's up, Bran? Steve Schmitz gave you 14 pulses, huh? You like that picture? I might have to start an OnlyFans. Dolomite, yep, smash the likes, guys. Smash the likes, and we're over 2,000 subs now, and still moving up. So that's cool. That's cool. You guys are kicking it out there, getting people involved in the show. Daniel, what's happening? Marcavelli, what is up? Reggie Bone, the usuals. Sammy Chica, hey, what's up, Sammy? Sammy's got a big show coming up with Stolen Discourse on this Friday night with the one, the only Richard Hart. And you're going to get to see him with all his hexagon ladies. So going to be a great stream. I happen to be a fly on the wall in some of their chats that they have. And guys, this is going to be fucking cool. These girls are going to lay it on him. So, but they got much respect for the Richard, that's for sure. Hexagon Sweat, what's happening? Daniel, Hexander, Crypto CPT, Diraj, what's up, Diraj? The man who gets silenced more than anybody gets timeouts. Love me some Diraj. Where you been, man? I haven't seen you on a Friday night hangout lately. Sammy Guns, yo, what up? And who else we got? BTC Bear, what's up? Yeah, I think it's pumping again, right? When we like 53K, or we're up there again, up in the mid-range 50s. Let me see here. Let me see what nomics.com is showing here. Yeah, we're back. Oh, almost 54K, and ETH back up to 25. Could this be the bounce? Or is it going to be a trap, or what are we going to see here? What's going to happen? Sammy 555, what is up? Good to see you. Yeah, Big Pep is on. Hex Monkey, what's up, dude? Russ, Blue Bum, Crypto CPT, and Bob Saget. I always love the fact that we have Bob Saget hanging out here with us. And Melv Tony, good to see you too, man. Good to see you. Thanks everybody for showing up. Appreciate you. This is going to be a great stream. We're going to get to talk to one of the OG hexagons and one of the more knowledgeable hexagons out there. Been wanting to get him on here, Mono Imano, for a while. So without any more delay here, I'm going to bring up my brother in arms here, Big Pep. What's up, dude?
RG3, honor and a pleasure. Finally made it on the stream.
Finally, man.
I'll tell you what, when you said on Friday that I'm the only one that hasn't shown up, I finally realized there's nobody lazier than me. So I got to get off my ass and get on here and just, it's the East Coast time zone, but that's not that big a deal. I mean, just getting caught up in work and all, and things have been kind of crazy busy. So,
I know, man.
Same for everybody.
You don't have to explain to me. I know that everybody's got their own lives and their own things going on, and it's tough doing a stream, especially one that actually has content in it like yours. You've got to be doing some studying. When you talk, you speak from a place of knowledge. When I talk, it's just kind of fart jokes and shit talk. But
no, you guys spread a lot of knowledge on here. I actually learned quite a bit from you guys in the beginning too. Everybody's got a unique vantage point, and I think mostly I just watch a lot of CNBC and follow the stock markets pretty closely, and of course crypto as much as I can. If I didn't have to work full time, maybe someday, and I can dig in a little bit more, right? But I feel like it's one of those things. When you guys started you covered a lot of the bases, and sometimes I feel like, well, I should get on and contribute, and then other times I say, well, do I really have anything to say that hasn't already been said? And I said, well, let me go on and try it and see how it's received. And you're right, everybody has, a unique perspective, different backgrounds. We got a really diverse crowding in Hex, I think, far more than any other crypto. And people that are in it for the right reasons.
Yeah, and it's about relatability too when it comes to streaming. And some people like our stream, some people like your stream, some people like watching brands, some people like watching coffee. It's people pick and choose the people that make them more comfortable, and that's what a diverse community is all about. Is you're going to hear the same message from all of us, which is cool, because we're all just speaking the truth. You can't say that out of all the Hex streams that anybody is contradicting one another or saying something different about the Hex product or what it is. So it's good to have that diversity, and it's good to have the consensus too.
Absolutely, it's important. And you can tell also that people have done their research. People are in it, not just because of some kind of hype momentum on YouTube. I mean, this product would have died long ago, I think, if it was that type of token. And all the effort that Richard puts in and the community as a whole, it's really it's about everybody working cohesively towards a common goal. And the nice part about Hex, and I know you guys have touched on this too, is how we don't have to outflank each other. We don't have to sit on separate monitors trying to outtime each other on Uniswap or something. And, dump on each other's heads. Everybody can win in this game, and that's really unique. So it's exciting, not without its troubles. It certainly has a massive. I don't think the FUD is as bad now as it used to be. But
no, I don't think the FUD's as bad. Yeah, it has its moments, and it has its scar, I guess you can say. It's there's going to be some FUD that just follows it around for probably forever. I mean, I don't know how long, to be honest. I mean, Bitcoin was footed out for a long time, and to this day, it still carries around some of its stuff.
It does. There's certain people that are never going to accept Bitcoin. I mean, Buffett and Munger are going to, they're going to take that one to the grave. They're not too far from there already. I like Buffett. I'm not as big a Munger.
Oh, so do I.
But yeah, he's just, when you get to a certain point in life, I think changing your ways just. Yeah, nearly impossible.
It's like Harry Dent. I have a lot of respect for all those guys and a lot of the things that they say and have said. But things change. And, especially in this day and age with new emerging technologies and especially in the finance area. I mean, from everything from just peer-to-peer payment systems to crypto, there's a lot of changes, and it's digital, and it needs to happen, and it is happening, and it's happening mainstream. And some of those old guys have just figured that, that's the hill they're going to die on, and they're just not going to pay it any mind because they don't, I think that they're too old of a dog to learn a new trick. So they've just decided, nah, I'm not going to go try and get into it. I'm done anyway,
Oh yeah, no, some people, I mean, my dad, he's probably one of like 5 people in America that still writes paper checks.
My grandfather's the other one, so there's only 3 others.
Okay, there's cool one right there. But I think one thing I've kind of had to get my head around to that point. That's a good point you make. Is I resisted even this change in tech when Bitcoin came to the scene. And I got a engineering background. Even then, I was like, oh, this sounds kind of hokey. I'm like, and back then I remember on the radio, I'll never forget it. They just had a quick news blurb on it. They're like, oh, you can buy like 1,000 of them for $1 or something. And I almost thought to look into it, but it just sounded kind of scammy and cheesy. I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's just probably some junk. I'll lose all my money. And I just never got around to it. And then I had another person, a coworker, asked me back 2016, I think, about it. And it was like $100 or $200 or something of Bitcoin. And I never got around to looking into it. Neither one of us bought it. And then it ran up to like 20 grand. But one thing to kind of look forward to is, even if you look at our generation, when I grew up, computers were just entering the scene. The internet wasn't even really a thing yet. Right? We saw that whole tech, the birth of the internet, and it evolved to what it is today. Phones, all that stuff, right? And it's the younger generations that kind of drive the future of these use cases. Online banking and all the phones and all the apps and the transactions, the way we live today, our parents, some will adapt, many won't. You know, they reach that threshold of like, no more, I'm just going to go with what I'm comfortable with, and I don't want to hear about it. But then the new tech emerges in, and now we're on that bell curve of tech. I remember back in a calculus class, they were talking about that years ago, saying, you know, we're right at that ascension of a bell curve of technology where we're just moving at an exponential rate.
Yep.
With, you know, and the way we can kind of correspond now and share information, and we've got AI, we've got all these things, you know, expert systems and stuff churning away at tons of data. There's major breakthroughs. I mean, in some ways, it might even go a little too fast. But you get that Jurassic Park syndrome, maybe where you stand on the shoulders of geniuses and you're the nerd of tech. I don't know that Bitcoin is going to be that, or it's crypto, but just, you know, what the younger people want is what you should really pay attention to, because a lot of times, and we were dismissed as younger people too. We were 18, 25 years old. Nobody wanted to listen to what we had to say. We didn't make much money. We hadn't been in the business world. We didn't know anything. And they just kind of shrugged it off like, that internet, that's just junk. It's emails. Who wants that? It's always going to be this way, right? This is the standard. Now, you know, it's all tech. It's all digital.
Yep.
So crypto is one of those things that, you know, future generations are certainly going to embrace, and we can see it, I think, in the next 5 to 10 years will become, as there's new emerging properties and use cases that haven't been discovered yet. I mean, eBay, look at the internet. Who thought of eBay? We all look back now and we say, oh, what a great concept. Why didn't I think of that, right? And there's a million other things in the web. Well, crypto is just at its infancy with that. We haven't found even the eBay and crypto yet.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Hex will be, you know, the forefront of some of those things. So it's exciting time to be in crypto, I think. I know if you can get past, you know, all of the negative media, actually right now, probably navigating through the hype media, because even CNBC, they're talking about Dogecoin every day, even though they joke. And yeah, you know, there's people, I know people, and you probably know them in real life too, where that they've actually bought Dogecoin just because it's on Robinhood. They don't even know what they're really buying. They're like, oh, I saw it on Robinhood. I have two friends that did this. They're like, what's crypto? Like, well, I saw it on Dogecoin or on Robinhood, and Elon Musk talked about it, so I must buy it. I'm like, it's a joke coin. What are you doing? But that's what you have going on right now.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what you have going on. And I remember, you know, they were saying the same things about the internet and email. And I remember Google when it was just a test, and it was like, okay, this is a lot better than the Netscape thing, right? And starting to use it, and like, man, I should buy some stock in this thing, and never did. And then I set up an account, and this new website came out, Motley Fool, and I'm like, I'm going to get involved with these guys and watch them and do all that. And I never did, you know, I just kept working to the bone, and, you know, working my 16, 18-hour days, and, you know, doing all that kind of crap. And never, I watched the tech sector. I was very interested in it. And then finally, when the internet just started blowing up, I said, all right, I'm going to jump in this thing. And I started gaming, and I built a gaming platform. And when I built this gaming platform, it was for a game called Counter-Strike. So what we were going to do was, you know, create this whole social media atmosphere, and basically like an ESPN for these guys, and rank them and rate them, and take their servers and keep the proper software on them so people weren't hacking and stuff. And we'd set matches up and have ranking systems, and then even pay for play stuff and all that kind of crap. But and during that time, that's when what's his name, Brock Pierce was running around trying to sell crypto in games, and he was out there shilling it, and we were like, no thanks, bud, we're good. Yeah. It's gonna. And that same as you, I thought it was hokey, you know, it's hokey. And then we heard this Bitcoin thing came out in like 2009, 2010 when they launched it, and I was like, it's just another PayPal thing, and whatever. It's those guys the guys in the gaming world trying to create their own PayPal. They're never going to make it, you know. Yep. PayPal's going to eat their lunch. You know, why would they make a new PayPal? And I didn't know what it was. We didn't have any idea. And then, you know, and then here we are today, $54,000 Bitcoin when it was
it's nuts, right?
under a penny. But I knew back in 2016 that was it. I wasn't going to miss this. I wasn't going to miss crypto. I was like, this is going to be it. But then got jaded of the whole thing. I mean, I got jaded of crypto because of all the scams and
Me too.
all the bull crap that was going on. And, and I didn't see anybody that I can trust. You and I have been around for a long time. You know how to look somebody in the face, listen to them talk, and know if they're full of shit,
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, we still get the wool pulled over our eyes. I do just as well as you probably every now and then.
Yeah.
But after listening to hours and hours of Richard and watching him develop his crypto that he was making, it was like, you know what, this guy actually might do this. This guy actually might be the first guy to bring something to crypto that's actually worth a shit. And God damn it, he did it, man.
He certainly did. It's funny because a lot of people are under the misconception that we're just, blindly obedient to Richard, and we just he's like the first guy we found, and we just followed, aimlessly. And it's quite the opposite. I mean, Richard was one of the last guys I discovered.
He was the last guy that I wanted to trust. I was listening to an Antonopoulos and Vase.
Yeah, me too.
All those other guys before him. Richard was like an obscure guy that I liked his little rants every now and then or whatever. He was kind of obscure, but I was listening to all the other guys, and again, getting the wool pulled over my eyes, and and then followed them all over the cliff in 2017.
I had my pleb moments. I bought Encash, I bought Substratum, I bought a bunch of others, Verge and all Tron and all that crap, and some of them I got out, on the bubble a little bit. Most of them I held too long, and then in the 2017 crash. Then, of course, all the guys that were promoting these things, if they stayed on YouTube, they just had a bunch of excuses. Most of them just disappeared.
Yeah, most of them just disappeared.
Yeah. And then Richard was the only guy, though. Once I actually found him, he started talking about things that you could relate to that made sense. He didn't talk about the tech in a way that he was trying to sell it to you. He was actually explaining some of the flaws around it and some of the limitations in the tech, which I found interesting. I'm like, wait a minute, this guy isn't trying to shill. He says he owns Bitcoin, but he's not trying to even hard sell me on this thing. Mm-hmm. He's like, well, this works here, but these people are saying it's supposed to do all these. It's never going to do, these fast, millions of transactions per minute, that kind of thing. So keep Visa, all that. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe this guy's somebody to listen to. And then he talked, of course, deeper in the technical side. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, this guy knows at least what he's talking about, and he doesn't try to sell me a program or like Ivan.
Yeah, he never tried to sell anything. Was like key,
right?
And then the other thing is that he, I happened to stumble across one of his self-help ones, and it was the gaming is a waste of time thing, right?
Yeah.
And I just happened to stumble across that through YouTube. I was like, oh, there's Richard, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, this is different. And I watched him talk, and I saw the look in his eyes, and that's when I was like, this guy's actually like one of the good ones in the crypto sphere. And that's when I really started like listening to him and going, man, this guy's got something to say. And it's not just about crypto or shilling something, and he's not selling anything. So check this dude out.
You know what? I don't know if you remember when he was even talking about the coin, the predecessor to Hex, that was some kind of physics lab coin to do like this really special niche math, like almost CERN super collider type math. And I didn't really have any interest in that. I was like, well, this sounds like it's going to have a very finite use case and a small audience. And he retooled. And when he came out with Hex and the CD, well, he didn't even have the name Hex at the time, but the CD on the blockchain concept, I said, okay, this I could see. This is intriguing, and this has an appeal to the masses, and it's something we can all understand.
It was the CFD token, that crypto fluid dynamics.
Yeah. Which maybe it had a good use case for that particular application, but this I found like, okay, this makes the most sense, and kind of went forward. Now, even then, I was a little hesitant at first because it was a new token, and I'm like, all right, I've been burned. Once you're burned a few times, like you said, even though you're like, okay, I like this, I trust this guy, I want to go in. You're still kind of going a little bit maybe more reluctant than you would normally. and it's crypto on top of that, right? But at least he was upfront about also, hey, crypto's dipped, and no expectations, that kind of thing. So people should also consider that when they hear all of us talking about Hex, that we didn't just stumble in, and the next day we're all in Hex. People came in and scrutinized probably this more than they did anything else.
Yeah, and what's interesting to me, when I thought about talking to, and I didn't do this back in 2017. I was in a bunch of chat rooms, and one in particular that was kind of an elite group. There was only about 30 people in there, and there was a lot of big influencers in there and people with money and founders and stuff, and they were all trading in this group. It was a closed group. But what I noticed was when I would talk back then, I was talking about the good things I knew about the tokens I was in order to pump my bag.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I felt like it was important for me to explain to these people what it was that I had known about this token, this coin, to get them involved in it so that they can help pump it. That was my thought process.
Yeah.
In Hex, I got my Hex. I staked it all. I DCA a little bit in now, but I poured all my crypto bags into Hex early on. And I said, I'm done with crypto. I don't trust any of it. I don't believe in any of it. Yeah, there's probably another pump left, but I'm all in on Hex, and I'm not playing with anything else.
Yeah.
And when I did that and I started this stream and we started talking, I literally forgot about my bags and have been trying to help other people in crypto get out of the messes that they're in and keep people from getting wrecked about what's about to happen right now.
Yeah.
What is it? A bunch of people just got wrecked. I mean, liquidated. I heard of a suicide because of the dip that just happened.
Oh, I didn't hear about that. Oh.
Yeah, suicide. A gal in India had set up a fund at some work or something, and she got a bunch of people in, and they all got in at almost 70K or whatever it was, and then boom, the big dip happened, and they all got liquidated.
Oh wow!
And she ended up killing herself. I mean, just tragic over crypto. I mean, it's horrendous. So literally, all of the information that we've been pumping out was to help the crypto community get back into a real crypto and get their hands off of all that bullshit that's out there. Try and save them from the trading game. Try and get them into something that's going to, make them make more crypto, And we're going to ride the wave with crypto. Period. I mean, look, we're already kind of correlated to the dip right now. If you look at what happened just recently in the last week or two, but I mean, we haven't been correlated with them much, but we felt it too. I don't know if that had anything to do with Hex and its correlation to crypto, or if we just happen to have some sellers at the same time too, maybe wanting to buy some dips elsewhere,
Well, people right now, and we're seeing a little bit of pullback in the NFTs. And there's more coming. I mean, the stuff that's been going on in the mania is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of reckless, I don't even call it investing, just, gambling going on in crypto. And Richard's even said, if Bitcoin takes a major dip, or ETH or any of these, it's going to spill into Hex at some point. But I noticed, though, that Hex does seem to have a little less volatility. Sometimes it will even have a bit of a run up. I think some people look at it as a safe haven. Hex is not Hex is kind of the counterintuitive token to crypto. It's not as this, sexy type of, hey, look at all these bells and whistles and flashy gimmicks and things, and just throw your money in, and after lunch you can retire, which is what all the NFTs and basically every other crap coin in the space is selling you right now. And or airdrops, chase our airdrop, which is another, disaster waiting to happen for some people. I mean, I know I've made some money on them too, but I know there's people that are just kind of jumping in all over the place with anything.
Yeah. So
there is that as well. But Hex is like, it's that set it and forget it, that old Ronco roaster, right? The infomercial, right? But it's true. And CDs in the real world are that way. Actually, investments in the real world, that whole oak tree, acorn to an oak tree, philosophy for growing your wealth is just that. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of time, and it takes, that compounding interest and that reinvestment of dividends or income to build that over time. And then once it starts taking off, though, and it does get to be so massive, it's got that steamroller momentum or a freight train, and it just starts to, grow like crazy. So, and then you're astounded. You're like, wow, I can actually live off of just what this generates, which is that whole perpetual income. And Hex is built with that paradigm in mind. But again, crypto has, well, first of all, crypto, we live in the cryptoverse, the crypto universe, all of us in Hex and the people we correspond with, at least on our live streams, are pretty familiar with crypto for the most part. The real world, though, or I should say the general society, the vast majority of people just in the United States are not in crypto. So just imagine when they do meander in. Now, their interest is piqued, but all the colleagues I work with, there's maybe one or two people in the office that are actually into crypto at all. And they're younger people. They're in their 20s. And they've dabbled a little bit here and there. They don't even know that much about it yet, but they're a little more willing to go in. They get it. They get it a little faster. The people in my age group, some of them, again, they're that old methodical, like, that stuff's all, snake oil and nonsense. And I've been told many times, like, oh, you're stupid, you're going to lose all your money. I'm like, no, guys, I'm making good gains. And now we're this long in Hex, right? So some of the guys are actually very anti-crypto, even like Bitcoin on down, are now starting to ask me a little bit more like, well, wait a minute, what's all this really about? So they're taking their time to listen. I think it's just a matter of time before they move into it. And we get a little easier on-ramping. Coinbase going public is actually good for that because it gives them confidence. They're like, well, that's a publicly listed company. I can get my head around that. So maybe I can use that. And they dabble in Coinbase first. They always go buy some ETH or Bitcoin or something. And then they kind of move out. They don't even know what MetaMask is, but that's fine. They can get there. It's easy.
And the funds coming in have made them all a little more confident in the market. And when it makes money, they always get a lot more confident.
Oh yeah.
It's at what now? It's at what? Like my father-in-law is just like, I mean, he's an ex-executive from a Fortune 5 company.
Okay.
And he, Warren Buffett all the way. His best friend, his cousin, is married to Warren Buffett's cousin, and so very, very staunch. Go long on stocks and Berkshire Hathaway and all that kind of stuff, and he's just anti-crypto. Well, he actually came to me and said, "Hey, so what's going on with this crypto? How do I get a little bit of it? Some of the guys at the golf course are talking about it, and I want in too. I want to get some." So of course, get him in, get his coins and whatnot, but it's the mainstream people are interested again now. If we have another dump, which we're looking at, more than likely, we're going to see a nice big correction. A lot of those people will be spooked and scared away, and they'll go away for the bear market, and then they'll come back again when the price is high.
And Richard calls it, spot on when he says people like to buy tops, and so lows, right? And it is human nature, people. It's easy to. How many times have we done it too? We're like, you'll see something. You wait a little long.
I did it
too. It runs up. Even with Hex, I'm like, when it was first launched, I thought I had a little more time. I thought I got even a little greedy. I said, well, I can get a lot here, and I did buy some.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I might get a little better deal, and then boom, that big wick up, and it never came back.
Yeah.
Never down that far. But I just learned, like, okay, I've done it with stocks, done with everything. And then when things are high, then you try to like FOMO on anything you can get your hands on. And then you panic if there's a dip and you dump it, which is what a lot of people tend to do. But yeah, you get those price points. I have a colleague who's pretty good with stocks, and he's got a good discipline with it where he has limit orders he'll preset, and he just holds. He's make his entry points. It'll get there when it gets there. And he may DCA in some stuff along the way, but he avoids a lot of that kind of trigger happy buy and sell mentality, which is almost always counterproductive to your
exactly.
portfolio.
Well,
right?
I mean, but you and I both come from that same school, Pep. I mean, we both learned that long was always the way to go. I don't know what made me think that I should that I got into crypto that I should day trade. I was I was never taught to day trade. I was always told to long everything. I was always told that stocks are a long-term investment. You get in them and you get out of them when you need it later on in life, not now. Now the game, it's a long game. Yeah, you might swap out one day for some other stocks that you might want or here or there or whatever, DCA into something else, but you never go and day trade. I mean, I was always taught not to do that. And as soon as I got into crypto, it was like, oh, I'm a fucking day trader now. I got to get my account here at this exchange and my account at this exchange and, trying to arbitrage and all this other shit and getting in the chat rooms and listening to everybody. And I went and played the game too.
I did too. And you get the FOMO pants on, right? And especially if you got a guy like, if you stumble on somebody, say, as Tone Vays, as I did too, and him and some others, and all of a sudden those are all the people and they seem to be knowledgeable in crypto. And everything does run up when there was a crazy bull market. Stuff in crypto goes faster than anything else. Like, well, I really better get in today because it's going to 10x tomorrow. I'm really going to miss the boat.
It's like sitting at a good craps table. It's like freaking the roller is fucking hot. The shooter's just killing it, man, and everyone's making money. And it's just like you just can't lose. You just keep throwing it, and the party's going, the drinks are flowing, and everybody's having a good time. And it's like just keep that shooter going, man. And then and then it takes a crap.
Yep. Never fails, right?
Never fails. And you might have a nice long night, but sometimes it just.
Yeah. No, I remember the stock market, same mentality, and they preached all the time. I never even thought to really day trade because, first of all, it was more expensive, more difficult to do back, especially.
Yeah, you couldn't do it like you can. It's so easy in crypto. I mean, in the stock market, you literally had to get, before the E-trades and all that stuff, you literally had to have a broker that would put your order in for you and all. And it took paper and days and phone calls and all that kind of shit. And it was not easy.
No, it took a bit of effort. And you had to have a bit more capital too, because the brokers didn't want to deal with, $500, bank accounts or $1,000. They want to spend 30 grand or more.
You'd get laughed out if you tried to set up an account like that.
And then the commissions would kill you too.
And the commissions, oh my God, the commissions. You couldn't make $500 trades. It cost you, 20 in, 20 out. It was like, start costing way too much money. It's almost like ETH today.
It is, the gas fees today are definitely a resemblance of that. But I think the good thing about all of us in Hex, especially, is that everybody, whether they came in today or during the initial launch, is still early in this product, just because it hasn't gained the mass adoption. Once it reaches a level of popularity such as Bitcoin or ETH, where everybody, and even those still have a good ways to go as far as headroom when it comes to mass adoption. But when it's at least those types of levels, you probably will stabilize in price a little bit more. Maybe you won't have as much headroom, but you think of the gains between now and then. I mean, Hex is what, $1 or 1.5 cents, a peak of like 2.2 cents or so is our all-time high.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nothing compared to what this thing is designed to do.
No, nothing. I mean, everybody who's in right now is angel investors. This is the true believers, the first people in, first 10% of stakers. I mean, this is truly, truly, truly the angel investors of Hex. Everybody here has, a lot of emotional skin in the game from, being part of the product and the project of the AA and all that. I mean, these are all angel investors. The people that are going to get in later are going to be, they're going to be the mass adoption people, the people that pump this price up, because we haven't seen any of the big money come in yet, really. I think the biggest Hexicans have yet to get into Hex.
Oh yeah, we're talking. I forget what the number was to just bring it to $1. Was it like 10 million or 15 million or something like that? Maybe 20 million. That's nothing. Look at Elon just put 1.5 billion in Bitcoin. And Kevin O'Leary, has put a million or millions or tens or hundreds of millions into that. I mean, these guys are big players. Imagine just one whale like that coming in, even with 10% of that. And then there's our $1 or 90-cent Hex or whatever price point a lot of people are excited about. And what I see is going to probably happen too, just like Bitcoin. I talk about this on my streams quite often, is the early adopters, the ones with millions of Hex, will probably sell a good portion of their bag at those price points because they'll have a lot of money. But just like with Bitcoin, if you're holding it longer, now you have a lot less people with 1,000 Bitcoin today than you did 10 years ago. you know, or 100,000, right? If somebody had 10,000 Bitcoin, most of those people are probably long gone before it even hit 20 grand in 2017, much less today. And they're kicking themselves today going, damn, I really should have held, right? But people don't do that. They dump it at $5, you know, because they're making, you know, 50 grand, 100 grand, whatever. And that's a lot of money, but it gets a bit short-sighted. And of course, with something volatile like crypto in an unproven space, you know, the littlest bit of bad news, look at the taxes from Biden, just a proposal, which isn't really going to affect most of us in crypto because we don't have that kind of money. But it spooks people and it spooks the markets, and you know, that's where you get some major sell-off. And then, of course, the masses will just, you know, blindly follow and dump because they panic. They think it'll never come back. And those are the good buying opportunities across the board in really any market, but especially for something like Hex. You know what else I think is going to be another thing, I know people want to talk about this, is another opportunity for the mad gains is likely going to be in Pulse. I don't know if you read the sticky post in Telegram from Richard the other day. I read it this morning. There's one on there where he talks about, he kind of hints at just some general ideas about the PulseChain and the claims. And
was that in the Pulse? Was that in the Pulse chat?
The PulseChain Telegram group. I guess.
Yeah. So that new pin with the
pin
FAQs and stuff.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. It kind of alludes to a few things. He's got that 10,000. He calls it Coin X. I'm highly confident that it's Hex, of course. And he says a 10,000 to 1 claim. When I did the math, it puts, assuming that that's against the total supply, it would put the supply probably around that of Ethereum. Now, maybe he's going to have a good bit more or less. I don't know. But it'll be kind of interesting to see if he does launch it and let it discover a price from zero as he did with Hex. That might be a good opportunity. You know, for everybody who says, I wish I bought in early, you know, in the early days of Hex, I wish I had another chance. This might be a chance. I'm not saying it is, but it might be. I think it's got promise for sure. He's putting a lot of work into it.
Yeah. You think it's going to be another situation like day one?
If there's an AA, which I'm still not clear on, I watched his live stream where somebody asked the question. He wasn't really yes or no on it. It was kind of like something being considered, and somebody mentioned in my live stream the other day that there is going to be one. I haven't seen anything affirming that, but I'm sure, like anything, there'll be a day one FOMO. Even Coinbase had it just recently when they launched. That's just generally people do.
So true Hexicans that are watching this show, the 100 of you that are there, just remember this. Richard warned everybody about day one FOMO. So day one in Hex, he told everybody, don't ape in day one. Watch yourselves. You're going to probably see a big pump, and you're probably going to see a big dump, and it'll find its price and then start moving from there. And go look at all you got to do is go look at the chart and wonder if Richard was right. When Richard says something, you should probably listen. He's pretty smart when it comes to these things, especially his own token, his own project that he's putting out. It would behoove of you, anything that he does say, hang on every word that he's talking about here and make your own decisions, of course. But if you're going to try and game this or be knowledgeable about your entry into this, then listen and watch history and listen to what's happening. And I would definitely be careful of that day one FOMO. If there is like an AA or something like that can get you into a situation where if you put a lot in there, you might end up with very little because of how quick that thing can rise that day. And then if enough Hexicans do it right, you might see it take a nice price action from that, you know?
Yeah. And somebody in here, I can't read the chat real quick with my glasses. Somebody was saying something that Richard said Coin X is not Hex. I mean, if it isn't, then the next guess might be T-shares. Maybe the T-shares for staking instead of liquid Hex. I don't know. I'm not sure what other token or coin he would leverage for that other than Hex for free claims.
Yeah. Brian Magruder said, doesn't apply for Pulse RG3. There is no risk of FOMO. Well, how do you know that? Do you know if there's going to be an AA type situation? I don't know. There's been talks of things like that happening. So if there is, there's a possibility of it. So,
Well, even if it's just straight listed on an exchange like a Uniswap, there's
people
a
could
FOMO opportunity
FOMO
there.
into it there. So
yeah.
So there is it. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's a possibility of it, and watch it. So CoinX is a gas token. Oh, is CoinX a gas token? I don't think it's a gas token. He's already said, don't worry about what it is. I don't know what it is. Could it be Hex? I don't know.
I can't imagine what else it would be unless it's something. The only next thing I could see is related to Hex is the T shares if he uses those to reward the people actually staking instead of people just holding liquid bags. But I don't know. Or it could just be maybe he's just kind of tricking you to think it's something else. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think it's certainly not going to be wrapped ETH or USDC. I wouldn't think. I don't know. Unless he's trying to limit the claims to something that is a little more watered down from just massive claims that are going to dump. This is also starting Pulse at 0. Let's say you claimed 1,000 or 2,000 Pulse or whatever. If it didn't have a high price point, then not many people would try to dump it. Now, as it ramps up, I'm sure some would, just like the Uniswap token. Or anything else out there. But this one, the difference with Pulse, though, I think it's going to get a wave of FUD, like anything, because it's Richard and there's people already doing that. But the big difference between this and Hex is the use cases for FUD, for Pulse are vast compared to Hex as far as other tokens can leverage Pulse, whether they, like Richard or not, is relevant. Because of the gas fees on ETH and all the problems it's causing, he builds a good, solid, substrate for them. They'd be foolish not to leverage that. So I think there might be more opportunities for Pulse to grow across borders that way. And people, even if half the people or 20% of the people, the ERC 20s on ETH currently, which will all be taken when the system state's copied over, could leverage that. I'm sure some will. I don't see why they wouldn't do it. It would be silly not to.
Yeah, you were crazy not to.
Yeah.
So
which
Big
would drive up the
K,
price.
I'll drop it in there for you, Big K. So Big K wants to come on and talk with us for a second and explain. I'll bring Big K in here for a minute. I always like his insight. He's a smart dude. I'll bring him in and then we'll kick him out and we'll talk more. Hold on, see if he comes in here. I've heard just a ton of speak on this, and I've read a lot, and I know, guys, there's Richard's pinning stuff, but Richard said stuff before things have come out and he's fucking turned it around 180 from it. So hold on a second, let me bring Big K in. Let's hear what Big K has to say for a second. We'll bring him on with us. Yo, what's up, dude?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Look at you looking all spiffy.
Yeah. Just jumping on real quick because I was reading a bunch of the pinned messages, and I haven't read that yet. I saw it, so I could explain a bunch of what is going to happen, or what I think Richard is trying to get across to us. So there is going to be a ratchet that will go up. There'll be a chance for you. There's so many angles to this. It's really awesome, actually. So first of all, X is not going to be Hex at all. It's going to be basically a place, and it won't have anything to do with T shares, nothing. It's going to be a placeholder token that will be basically how Pulse gets allocated. Now, you'll get Pulse if you're holding on to Ethereum automatically because of the fork. So if you're holding one Ethereum, you'd get one Pulse, by the nature of it. And he also talked in this pin thread about cutting out whales. So if Vitalik, won't get any Pulse, he'll get plenty of other, but he'll get all the forked ERC20 tokens. So any ERC20, if you have other coins of other types, Hex or included, all of that will be included as well on Pulse. But then folks who want to essentially sacrifice is the word that he's using, sacrifice coins of ERC20 Ethereum versions to an address probably for coin X, this placeholder token, then they'll get allocated. He's currently his number of 10,000 to 1 Pulse token based on the dollar value on a time-weighted average of what the token that you put in there. So if you put in an Aave or a Celsius or whatever, it's whatever the value of that token is in dollars on over a time-weighted average, so that you can't be gamed. You'll get that many Pulse 10,000 X to 1 airdrop to you. And now Pulse will
10,000 X to $1 is what you're saying?
To one exactly, to one whatever
$1 dollar worth of your
yes. So then you'll have all this. You'll have the ability. You'll want to FOMO in day one also, because this ratchets up every day. It's something like, where is it? It's like 4% per day. It'll go up. So like you have 30 days to send your coins to the sacrifice address. The cost of X, the placeholder token, will go up 4.2% per day, 3.3x on day 30. The cost of X goes up 4.2% per $1 million of USD equivalent put into it. So like each time.
Oh, so there's different metrics for it to ratchet
that
up.
Will ratchet up, exactly. So 59x at $100 million. So that's a hard number he says this is a hard number to choose. So like what the cost, so on day 31 and 32, the total sacrifices across all chains are measured and then credited. So then anyone who can verify the amounts that are going into the sacrifice addresses, and day 33 final rankings will be published. And then he's talking about gaming it so that like top people who donate sacrifice the most of different coins in value will get different award levels or some sort of bonuses for being, like a top 100 list or something like that.
So there's going to be a free claim ETH and then a sacrifice ERC20. So those are the different ways to get in.
And yes, and the sacrifice, the sacrifice coins that he's got up here are a pretty like random list of coins so far. So not final, could change, but there's BTC, Ethereum, wrapped Bitcoin, Uni, Hex, Link, DAI, Aave, Maker, USDT, Litecoin, Doge, Zcash, BCH, ADA, DOT, Sol, Solana, quite a long list, and keeps going. Avix, like anybody can donate. It's essentially like, a political statement for being able to, turn your coins into, and then from there, the other thing that's going to be super interesting is, what people do right out the gate with these Pulse, because the Pulse will be valued at basically nothing to start. And then what would they be like based on how much money people put in? He had like a number set up.
Well, aren't they going to be 10,000 per dollar once people
so based on that, and he said based on the numbers of how many there would be, there's a formula that he had in here that says like if there's 1.1 trillion minted, that there would basically be that Pulse would launch around a price of like 1.345 cents, a piece, based on if depending on how much economic weight gets put into it. Just some rough numbers. And so like it's not none of this is all just like it says no guarantees on any of this shit.
When did he pin this one?
This was the last one that was pinned that just says food for thought, discuss, and then the address is sacrificed from then, and the addresses are now prepared to receive the new coins. Private keys that you set, from the coins that you sacrifice can now be used to access your new coins on a supported chain. So like then, but Pulse is the only one using the supporting set, the set so far, of course. But yeah, so then the idea is that from there, you're like everybody will be able to accumulate, because like all the whales will be cut, from getting a bunch of Pulse, and then from there, everybody will have a chance to accumulate, because all the pairs will exist. Like if you have if you have liquidity providers, that existed, like Uniswap will exist on Pulse. It will because it's just a smart contract, and so because of that, like all of the liquidity will exist there too. But because of the fact that they launch with no value. If you want to jump into a coin that you are interested in, or like, you could buy up the boat of whatever token that's out there on the PulseChain if you're that interested in it right out the gate. Like that's something that anybody could do, based on, so like, and it's going to be a mad rush. It's going to be a rush to get. I mean, I imagine Hex is going to be the one that, like, the Hex Pulse will be the one that goes up the fastest because we're the most interested in that as a community. But like, there's going to be a bunch of peripheral coins, that have working smart contracts and working, like, the only thing that these developers have to do is create a new drop down on their front end to like let them access your coins.
Now, has you mentioned anything about its own DEX, or is it just going to allow?
Well, it'll be. I mean, everything that exists on ETH will exist on there. So like, you could have Uni, you can have 1inch. All those will exist. Their smart contracts will exist. So somebody, like I said, somebody just needs to make like an ethhex.com, some sort of front end to interact with the contract. Pulse version of it. Yeah, exactly. So like Uniswap could go or MetaMask or any of these cats could go so far as to do it themselves because they already have a very
because somebody could do
it's, I mean, it kind of reminds this part
this part of providing rewards program.
Well, even so, it kind of reminds me of when Bitcoin Cash forked from Bitcoin. Like there was a lot of exchanges that were like, nah, we're not like spending the time and money to like, give people free money, and there was enough community outreach and outpouring of support for people to be like, oh, no, you have to give us those coins. And so like, they were like, oh, okay, fine. We'll pay developers to do all this extra work to give you free money. That wasn't that's not like in the cards. They don't have to do that shit, but there was enough support for them to do that. And so in this situation, it's kind of similar where like, if fees suck that bad and you have these unique smart contract ideas that work right now they work. Just if fees were better, the people could be playing their goofy blockchain video games and whatever. But it all works on if fees were much cheaper. Then why not offer people a drop down to be able to use what you've already built? If there's no activity and people can't use your stuff, why not give them option too? So I mean, it kind of puts the pressure in some ways on all the different developers of these different projects to offer this to their users. Their users are going to be like, we would like free coins and a working system, please. Yeah, that'd be great.
So it sounds like he's going to take the system state copy and kind of encourage people to burn a lot of the tokens that are going to be in their wallets.
All the old tokens that existed previously, from Ethereum or wherever else you have tokens, you can be burnt. You burn those and get yourself more Pulse.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
All right, I gotta take off, y'all. But that was, I just figured I'd give you guys everything that I had as far as understanding on it.
So. I didn't see that. Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
No problem. Y'all have a good night.
Take care.
Good. All right, so that's shed some light on that there. Yeah. So that kind of makes that makes a little more sense too then. So
I'm looking at the pin message in the PulseChain.com and I don't see. I don't have time to sit there and read the thing, but yeah, I don't see it in there what he was explaining. But but liquidity is going to have to be added to those uni pairs. Everything is going to come over in the system state. There's not going to be liquidity there, right? Or
I'm thinking that's what the incentive will be. Well, not unless somebody's going to come over and provide it, which I would doubt, because you'd have to have the Pulse, pair like you do with ETH or USDC maybe. And I'm not sure about the bridging either. What will be bridged and how that would work. Probably just like Matic or anything else you go over to. But I'm guessing from what Big K was saying, I have to read over that post and kind of process all that. But since the system stays copied, so maybe you have a whole bunch of these other tokens like the copycats, whatever that people might have had, or any of these others out there, maybe just burn all those out of the system by offering a free Pulse coin, kind of as an incentive. Since there won't be liquidity for those on Pulse initially anyway, most likely. I would imagine that the Hex Pulse would exist and maybe some others around that, but I don't know that somebody's going to come in and put like a chain link Pulse on there right away.
Now, what about the I know obviously your hex is going to be duplicated. But is that going to be the only incentive for hexagons, or was there something else posted about hexagons getting some of this coin for their stakes or any of that, shares or any of that? Will we get double the amount of hex? There will now be 2 hex smart contracts running on the Ethereum network, 1 Pulse network. You will have an exact duplicate. Of course, yeah, I saw that a million times. So there will, but there's going to be duplicates of every coin out there, right?
Yeah, everything on ETH right now. So if you got hex and you got ETH in your wall, obviously, and maybe USDC or Chainlink or something like that, I would assume all that would be over there if you have it on the ETH chain. So but I don't know. Again, and that's where the bridging would be interesting, because you couldn't.
Hex will get no special treatment, Big K says.
Yeah, that's what I see people saying. So that's interesting.
That is interesting. So dump your hex and buy ETH. Is that what's going to end up happening? I mean, is that what people are going to do if they have liquid hex or whatever? I mean, I don't know. Is your hex worth more duplicated over there, or jumping onto the Pulse, wagon?
Well, I think the hex you would probably want to duplicate over there to keep your stack. I mean, I don't, unless you could get hex super cheap over there in the beginning.
Well, I'm talking about liquid. If you do have like liquid hex.
Yeah. That'll be copied though. So if you had 100,000 liquid hex, you would have 100,000 on Pulse in that bag, and still your 100,000 on ETH. But how those would correspond, that's where the bridging is interesting, because you can send hex from ETH to say Matic and back and forth. So could you take that 100,000 and now you've got 200,000 on Pulse, or vice versa? Don't know. I mean, technically,
I don't know if they're going to have a bridge like Matic did, because, like you said, those coins will be duplicated, but they're going to exist on separate chains, not on the same.
Right.
Like in the Matic network, like you said, I can take 100,000 hex off of the main net and put it on the Matic net, and it transferred over, and it went from 0 on one side to 100,000 on the other, and then back when it went 100,000 back over, and it's now zeroed out on this side. So
now, if he could just take it, and I guess he meant to mention something about for people to offboard their money. So you got to set, if you sell your hex, for example, for USDC or maybe wrapped ETH, would you just take it straight from Pulse and go to, say, Coinbase to sell for cash? Or do you have to go around ETH still for that? I don't know why you'd have to go around ETH if it's both ERC20.
Pulse Hex won't be interoperable with ETH Hex. Yes, that's what I was believing too. So yeah, so it won't be interoperable. It won't be able to transfer over. You'll have a separate hex on the new Pulse chain.
So that makes a little more sense then. Yeah. So all these duplicate tokens you'd be getting on PulseChain, unless there's somebody coming in from the outside to put a bunch of liquidity there, you'd be better off probably just burning them through the claim system, like Big K was talking about.
Yeah.
That would probably make the most sense.
Yeah. Bridging is like who just said it? Somebody just said it was like a post op, Blue Bum. That's what it's like. It's like, like the Matic network was literally moving from mainnet to the Matic network was like a post office. It was just transferring it from one side to the other. This is actually going to be duplication of the whole system state. Boom, over to here. So you'll have everything on both sides.
Right. Yeah. I'll have to read up a little bit more on that then, because what he's saying, it kind of makes a little more sense, is to get around just people double dipping, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, obviously, like I said, everything will still be on ETH, but if there's nothing sellable on ETH in the Hex ecosystem, then maybe it'll just be on Pulse. But the offboarding off of Pulse would be interesting. If you could go to USDC or roundabout.
Yeah, I thought I heard him mention, making that ramp, doing like a Coinbase ramp. And I don't know if that's going to be possible. I know there's a lot of legalities that go along with that. But that might be part of it too. If that be the case, that would definitely make Pulse awesome, man. If you can onboard and offboard and transact completely on there and never have to never have to deal with the other crypto world
ideal.
ever again.
Yeah, if you had a direct ramp, that would be nice. Yeah, if you don't have to go through the ETH network, yeah, that would be nice. If you could just divorce yourself from that altogether. Sure, I'm sure he's thought. I know he's talked about, you know, people having an off board at times. If you were trapped on PulseChain and you couldn't get anything out of there, then there'd be no purpose to it. So I'm sure there's going to be something in the ecosystem for that.
Yeah, you'll have to, right?
Yeah. Otherwise, who's going to use it? Because, you know, there's no
there's no way to spend your money.
Stuck in the system. There's no way to get your money out. So or bring money in, really. So you got to be able to bring in new money and move money out.
Yeah, if you don't have a way to bridge, then of course there's going to have to be some way to.
I do remember him making a comment during that 8-hour live stream about that. Now he'll probably have a limited, maybe just USDC, which you could Coinbase accepts, or maybe wrapped ETH or something like that. They could do easy enough. I would think probably USDC would be the main one. That's where the most liquidity is now in Uniswap. What I mainly see is that, okay, Pulse will take off, and all these gas fees that are kind of freaking people out, and not only people that are currently staked, it's also discouraging people from getting into Hex, because anyone I've tried to onboard recently has been put off by the gas fees, which, you know, you can't really blame them, especially if they don't go in with a huge bag. You know, somebody come in with a couple $100 or $500, even $1,000, and if they see a massive ETH fee or gas fee, it's a bit discouraging. All the gas was down the last couple of days, but we've all seen, just since the Berlin fork, we've seen how that's impacted existing stakes already, which are not all that old, just over a year.
Wow. I just got a message, and I heard people talking about it earlier. Tesla sold in Q1 $272 million in Bitcoin proceeds.
Really?
Yeah. Elon's dumping on your heads, guys.
He's gonna pull an XRP on you. He's gonna dump to pay the bills. Well, he had it in his 10K today. They had it on the news that he declared, Tesla invests in volatile asset classes and things like that. So he has it all in the regulated paperwork.
He had to get a couple more rockets.
Probably, yeah. Well, see, he's the kind of guy too that could incite some panic if he does go and dump a big portion.
Well, he did.
I mean, he did like that, yeah. Sure.
Pretty good size chunk.
Pretty good chunk of money.
Probably the one that started this whole little dip here or something. Maybe, I don't know when he sold it. Did it say?
Wouldn't surprise me.
It says Q1, so maybe he's been dollar cost averaging the 272 million out over the last couple of weeks.
Well, he's going to host Saturday Night Live on May 8th.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. So they're already suspecting he's going to try to pump something on there. I can imagine. Boy. Wait for the Doge coins. Right?
He's gonna buy Doge on Saturday Night Live on his cell phone or something.
Probably. Yeah, he's gonna. Or he may come out of left field with something. They said I forget what he told them, but he was talking about hinting to something like that. So being Elon in a Saturday Night Live, he's definitely gonna have to talk about Doge and other things. Doge, Bitcoin, maybe something else out of left field.
He's gonna tell everybody he's Satoshi.
Probably. Yeah, that would be something, wouldn't it? I'd be laughing my ass off. Well, I don't think anybody would believe him. He's almost zany enough to be, though. He is quite a character. He pushes the envelope quite a bit with some of the stuff he tweets. With the SEC and all. I don't know how he gets away with a bit of it. He got fined, if I'm not mistaken, back when he tweeted Tesla was overvalued before the split. I think he just paid the fine and went on his merry way doing what he does. But
I think he's deep into this this space race that's about to happen. All the timing is optimal. He had his operations out here in California for all these years, and it was really a hodgepodge. It was never really set up properly. Like Ford's production line, where everything starts in at this end and goes out the other end. His rocket factory wasn't like that. His rocket factory is a fucking mess. It's the craziest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah, you said you worked out there, didn't you? Putting some your millwright, or you're loading like the big bolts and stuff on the rockets.
Yeah. No, I've been working out at SpaceX for the last 15 years since they opened, really. And they own a lot of different buildings in a lot of different areas right there, in the neighborhood. So you got to take stuff from this building over to that building and whatnot. But I worked on some specific projects, like the capsule locks onto the space lab, the space station up there. It has to match. So I was in charge of moving the piece that actually built the jig that matched to the space station. So I delivered that, put that in their building, moved it around a few times. And then the manned capsule, I was actually the one that moved that manned capsule around back and forth, back and forth. And then when it came time to ship it out to Cape Canaveral, the first one, I didn't move the second one that went out. The first one many years ago, I moved it to Cape, in the middle of the night, went out there, packed it up and put it on a truck and sent it out to Cape Canaveral. So I did the first one. The second one, I had been out of the field for a while, and somebody else did that one. But yeah, I've done a lot of work there. Put blasts.
Rather envious of that. That's some pretty cool stuff to be involved with.
Oh, dude! I mean, some of the stuff there is just blow your mind. Blow your mind.
I can imagine.
It was just. I've worked in Boeing and Lockheed Martin and all those years on the shuttle program when the shuttle program was going. Tore all that apart, broke all that down. Yeah. When they stopped the shuttle, they scuttled it. So there was a lot there. But this thing is, I mean, compared to those places like JPL, I've worked at JPL for many years too. Compared to JPL, it's like romper room versus college. I mean, really? Literally, it's a completely different world. Elon is literally making rockets like a kid compared to what they do at JPL. I mean, JPL is like sick stuff. I mean, insane amounts of clean room upon clean room upon clean room. Yeah. Like I've never been able to get into the inner sanctum of the clean rooms, just like in the first 2 layers of the clean rooms, because they've got like stuff that can't even have, like they clean this stuff for a year before they put it.
Yeah, like absolute zero contaminants,
Yeah, absolute zero. Like negative contaminants, like negative amounts of contaminants in the product. So like when they were building these Mars rovers and stuff and the helicopters and all that crap, they've got these crazy clean rooms that they use where, I worked on the outer sanctum clean rooms. The inner stuff is like just, only certain people go in there,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty amazing tech. So, but I mean, just to be at least you're probably closer to it than most people ever would get. So that is pretty neat. Definitely.
What's going on? What's going on in the stuff? There's a little tiff going on in the chat room.
Oh, not on Discourse Syndicate.
Fucking Brennan. Shut up, Brennan. Quit fighting with everybody. He's like a fucking bulldog, man. It's just like, as soon as somebody throws a bone out there and red meat, and that fucking guy gets all over it and just Brennan is the hex bulldog.
That is too funny. Yeah. Well, there's always
I can't imagine NASA letting RG3 into a clean room. Well, MT Coiner, believe it. I've worked on the railgun program. I've worked on all those things, man.
Well, you couldn't get to the cleanest room.
That was like very, very specialized JPL personnel that actually go in there and clean those things. And I mean, it's like overabundance of cleaning, because any little speck of anything could like destroy that whole program, because of the testing that they do. They have to have like there can't be any earth contaminants in those cells. Mm-hmm. Like so because they don't want earth contaminants in the test atmosphere, because they're going to Mars. They have to have like a zero. There can be nothing in it. It has to be completely negative. Oh yeah. And then when they bring the samples back, it has to be just Mars samples that come back. So
Aerospace. I've worked in defense and aerospace for a little while. In aerospace, true like aerospace manufacturers. I mean, even in assembly, if there's a part, doesn't matter how expensive it is. If somebody bumps it on the floor, even in a clean, there's got to be scrapped.
It's done.
$5,000 part, right in the trash. So
done.
Yeah, they're real critical about that. Of course, you got to consider the environment it's going. There's no opportunities or options to, replace it, repair it, or do anything. One thing could really blow a huge project.
Yeah, and that was like Boeing and Lockheed and all the planes that they built. Like I worked on the Skunk Works program too, and all the planes and stuff were like all that carbon fiber and stuff. It couldn't be contaminated either. As soon as something happened in there, it was like freaking scrap it. It's out of here. Bump into something like you said. It's out of here. Yep. It's done. And that's when the Skunk Works is where they were building all the stealth projects.
Yeah, that's pretty cool stuff. I don't know if you did any work at the boring company he has too, where he's got his tunneling out there. I know he's got some big equipment.
Oh, the boring.
I don't think it's as ramped up as SpaceX or anything, but I've seen some of the infrastructure he's talked about on there.
You're talking. Are you talking about the loop ring?
No, he's got that company called the Boring Company, where they bore underground with the tunnels. He's got that whole transportation system.
The drills. Yeah, because that's actually going to be part. That's part of the what do you call it? The Hyperloop.
Yeah.
So they can dig tunnels.
Yeah,
and shit.
The Hyperloop. Yeah.
The Hyperloop. So there's a street, Jack Northrop Boulevard. You can actually Google it and sit. There's a tube that goes from the street's about a mile long straight, and there's a tube that goes all the way down that street, and they run anti-gravity rail gun type little carts through it, and that's how they're testing that Hyperloop through there.
Yeah. That's pretty cool tech, though. There's a lot of ingenuity there. So pretty cutting edge tech, cutting edge things. So exciting to be in.
Not to violate your lifetime clearance obligation. RG3, you have to be careful not to violate your lifetime clearance obligations. Need to know. Yeah, I don't have any clearance obligations anymore, man. I'm timed out. Nobody cares about what RG3 knows anymore.
Well, all of our info gets dated after a while. It's hard to keep up with it. The tech moves so fast anyway. Everything changes almost. Used to be by the months, now it's by the day almost.
Especially
at something like SpaceX. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, now I've been on my soapbox talking about going to Mars, and now it looks like they're getting ready to do this whole moon landing thing. It's already scheduled, so the moon landing's scheduled. Mm-hmm. I guess they're sending the first woman is going to step on the moon on this first trip.
Yeah,
and from what I understand, they're building these biospheres. They're like sending sea containers up there that actually operate and grow food or do whatever, conduct experiments, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Set up an infrastructure for humans to come up there. So they launch these things, they land, they either make fuel, make oxygen, grow food and store it, all that kind of crap, all on their own. AI, they got work on AI. Yeah. And then they'll send human beings up there that can actually survive and live there. And then I guess what they're going to try and do is they want to jump off from the moon. That might be the way they're going to go to Mars. I'm not sure, but I think
I heard talk about that. Yeah.
Kind of the plan to build a station there, set up operations, build a launch pad, build the rocket up there, set the BFR up there, and then shoot it to Mars. And then I heard Elon talking, those people aren't going to be able to come back probably.
No, I think that's a one-way ticket. Yeah.
Oh, man. That's crazy.
To make it a new Australia,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess there's probably a bunch of people standing in line wanting to do that. So, more power to them.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. Well, I don't know if it's something I'd want to do.
No, thanks. No, I'll pass on that. I know enough about. I mean, I like space. The space exploration is pretty cool. It's pretty intriguing. But Earth is a volatile enough planet. I think Mars, even if you could colonize and put like a artificial atmosphere.
It gives people something to do. A whole bunch of money to get spent on. People are going to go to work. I know a bunch of the guys that I know are going to be happy working their asses off. Putting all that shit together. So people are going to make money.
Somebody will do it.
Have something to do.
Yeah. Maybe 1,000 years from now they'll be, maybe they'll be able to shorten the space, or shorten the travel time.
Yeah, Rick Schmidt says space is fake.
Space is fake.
It's part of the simulation, right?
Well, I guess if you're unplugged, maybe it depends which pill he took. He took that red pill, I guess. Yeah. No, that's good stuff. I like I said, in engineering, so I'm kind of envious of that. That is pretty cool stuff to see, or at least to know somebody who's involved with that. I have one guy, young guy, who moved out that way, that went to SpaceX. He loves it out there. He's in engineering. So
Thanks, MT Corner, for the $5. He says, "To hell with the trolls. Big Pep, real people have nothing but massive respect and love for you. I always loved your input in the stories."
I appreciate it, guys. Yeah, I'm aware. Yeah, I love all you guys. That's why I come on here. So
you're definitely loved out there.
Hey, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I don't get phased. Trust me, none of that stuff phases me. So it's all good.
Assholes.
Yeah. That you talk about Mars. That's where you start there. Maybe Mars isn't far enough for them. Yeah.
No, Saturn, right?
There you go.
Is that where the hex? Where's the hex thing? Is that Saturn or Jupiter that the hex is on? The hex storm.
I think we're talking about the big ice storm is Jupiter.
No. There's a storm that looks like a hex. A hexagon.
I don't know about that. Is there?
Oh, you never saw that?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, dude, it's insane, man. Let's see.
Well, maybe you guys were talking about it a while back sometime. But no, I'm not familiar with that one.
It's here it is.
All right, let's see this.
Yeah, you got to see this. This thing is it is wild. It is really wild. So it is on Saturn. It is on Saturn. So let me open this up. There it is. And share. There we go. Shit, where'd it go? There. So that is the storm on Saturn.
I have not seen that.
You haven't seen that? That's literally on Saturn.
Maybe it's a sign.
I think so.
Isn't the PulseChain color similar to that? I think Pulse is a similar color,
it's
right?
It's like the PulseChain color. It's pretty wild.
That is too cool. That is too cool.
It's pretty wild. The first time I saw it, I thought somebody had faked it. And then I was like, oh, shit, no, that's for real. I Googled it, and it was for real.
Yeah. I don't know if but you guys follow on the
Rick Schmidt said, that's CG.
CG.
That's what Rick
It
Schmidt
almost looks like it. Yeah, it looks like it. Was it Voyager 1 or left out past Pluto about, 4 or 5 years ago?
Who flew past it? The
Voyager.
Voyager. Was it Voyager 1?
And that son of a bitch is out. Voyager 1. Yeah. You can track it online, but they're actually going to start shutting systems down.
Yeah, because it's skipping out right now. It's skipping out of our universe or out of
our solar system.
System, and
it'll probably run out of power before it gets. I mean, it's not going to get to Alpha Centauri. That's still like 40 light years away. I think it's going something like 38,000 miles an hour. Something like that. It's some crazy speed. And even with that, it would take it like 30,000 years.
Now that's the one with the gold album on it, right?
That's where we almost maybe put too much information. Right? I'm not sure that you want any other creature out there to find an intelligent life to find Earth. Probably either would Well, but they need to be well advanced and ignore us.
It's like, look, these motherfuckers left us a text message. They doxed themselves here.
Yeah, that's exactly what would happen. It'll likely just get smashed in the Oort cloud, the hypothesized Oort cloud about a light year out from the sun, if it makes it that far even. Jupiter's like the bodyguard for the Earth anyway out there. If you watch Lawrence Krauss or anybody talk about solar system and comets and asteroids and just all the violence in space, it has such a massive gravitational pull. It pulls in a lot of that stuff that would normally pummel the planet. So we're pretty lucky to have that out there.
Big ass Jupiter out there, just suck it all up.
Yeah, it's got such a massive gravitational pull that it pulls in a lot of that stuff. Some stuff still gets by, obviously, but
look at Rick Smits. Boomers in their space. You guys make me want to sell Hex.
After you saw the Hex storm on Saturn, how could you want to sell Hex?
Sell it, Rick. Sell it. You live in the simulation. We're going to space. We're going to go to space. You live in the simulation and suck your red pills down in your fucking TikTok.
He just wants other people to sell so he can buy some more cheap. That's what he's really looking for.
Sounds like somebody else we used to know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, you kids, you crazy kids. Oh.
Watch too many movies. Yeah.
They watch too many damn movies, and they watch too much YouTube, and they read too much crazy shit on the internet. You guys got to realize they can put anything they want on the internet, and you guys are all sucking it up like it's fucking word. Like you find some rabbit hole, you crawl into it, and you're like, this is it. This is the way and the truth. This is it, man. I got it now. I'm gonna suck this red pill down, snort it, freaking whatever, and this is the way life is. There is no space. The earth is flat, and you're gonna fucking
that's the problem with the internet. As great as it is, like the Dewey Decimal System on steroids, it is a problem where people can post anything, and then so many folks are so lazy they'll just Google whatever, and of course they'll look for something that agrees with their point of view, and you'll definitely find a post somewhere, a website or an article or whatever. Yeah, Earth is flat and all this other garbage. So about the stimulation. That's about right. Yeah.
That's about right. That's about right. Oh man, but like once you guys, I'm waiting to hear that big pop. That when I hear that big pop, that's going to be your generation's head coming out of its ass, and you guys can start fucking fixing the world with all the technology that you have now because of the space program, because of the shuttle program. That's why you have the fucking internet. That's why you have cell phones, you fucking dummies. Is because of the fucking moon program. You stupid fucks. Look at what your history shows you. Look at what you use today and wonder where the fuck it came from. We made it for you. Now use it right and quit fucking polluting your goddamn minds, you sons of bitches.
You mean it wasn't all invented at the Apple store? With the Apple geniuses? I thought that was where it all came from. Like the last 30 days, they just made it
all. How many nodes does it take to run a simulation?
Yeah. No, that's why I talk about that rapid advancement in tech, where it accelerates so quickly, where you can just plug in everything that's already been done. And you can do some cool stuff with it, but if you don't respect the tech that was, or whatever was built to, enable that, it can be a little bit dangerous.
And you know what else? The information overload and the information that's out there and some of the stuff that these guys are swallowing and ingesting and polluting their minds with, the discernment has gone away from a lot of people because they interact on the internet all the time. So I think that there's really a lot of need for people to learn discernment. I mean, you and I interacted with human beings for a long time on a level where that's all we had was interpersonal action to communicate. I mean, you didn't get to text and email and do all this shit. You literally had to go and get in front of somebody and talk to them and explain things and sit down and go over paperwork and all that kind of crap and look at plans and boom, 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 in order to get things done. And now literally everything is, all this crazy communication and then all of this information overload and, fuck college. I'm going to learn everything on YouTube, which, to be honest, there's there's probably not more information on YouTube these days than there is in colleges.
College really just, formats your mind to think. You'll learn more reading a book a month than you'll ever learn in college. And you probably will learn more on YouTube, and depending on what you watch on YouTube. But, but college just kind of is, a lot of the info is a bit dated anyway. It's all just fundamentals and concepts and, finding your limits, right? Professors love to load up a syllabus with material that most of the students can't complete or understand to pass an exam and ace it. It's pretty rare, especially on the weed out courses. And the whole design behind that is just so people can, first of all, realize their thresholds and just organize their mind to think. The sad part is school up to college doesn't prepare you at all for college. High school doesn't prepare you at all. High school is all pep rallies and, Facebook parties and nonsense, right? And Twitter battles. And then you go to college. Well, depending on what you major in college, but if you go into something like engineering or one of the, science disciplines or maybe a business one, something that requires more, study to be put in, and the curriculum is very difficult. It can be overwhelming to a lot of people. Well, I think what you get out of it, though, like I said, it formats your mind to think kind of like a hard drive. Then you can go out in the real world and start to apply these concepts and build on real information and knowledge as a whole. But yeah, I've always thought that from college as well. And a lot of people I've talked to have a similar mindset about that as well. Never stop learning, right? I mean, that's really the key.
You can never stop learning. And that's why I interact with so many young people, because they teach me a lot too. A lot of their stuff is bullshit, and I'll call them out on it. You guys got a lot of fucking funky ass bullshit in your brains. You can call me boomer and say whatever you fucking want. Old man yells at the kids, all that crap. Fuck off, eat a dick, and fucking go learn some real life shit, and realize that you guys are the future. You guys are very smart. You're a lot smarter than we were. I think but your discernment and yes, Brennan, discernment. It's called discernment, and it's from fucking experience. And that is one thing that youth, unfortunately, doesn't have, is a lot of experience. And you've got to be able to apply that when you guys have all this knowledge. All this knowledge you guys have, you need to put it into work for the better good of everything, and do it in a way that it's not a bunch of fuck it. Because I see a lot of fuck it out there. A lot of fuck it. You guys fucking ruined it. Well, yeah, we did, but you guys got to go do the right things to fix it. So get out there and do the right things to fix it.
That's a good point, RG. A lot of people, there's a lot of knowledge, and young people spin up quickly because they have, Google and the internet at their disposal to learn anything, anytime. But there's not as much applied knowledge. People don't apply it. They read it, they watch it on YouTube, and then they're like a resident expert, but they've never done it once. You really got to go out and apply things and do things. And that's where when in our generation, you had to get out of the house. You had to go do something. You had to get involved, and you had to apply things and learn the hard way sometimes.
Yeah. I had a young guy one time. I showed up at a shop, and I had like 8 machines to put in this room, and I had to put them in a certain way. I look at them. I go, okay, I got to put this one in first, this one in first, this one in here, like this. And the kid brings me he's about 28 years old, and he brought me a CAD drawing of the room and said, hey, all the machines go in here like this. You're going to put them all in like this. And I said, no, they won't go in like that. And he said, no, look, the CAD is showing you exactly how you're going to do it, and this is how I want you to do it. And I said, you know what? I said, you're the boss, but I'm going to tell you right now, they don't go in that way. And he said, well, we've done it multiple times here on the CAD, and this is how it goes. Yeah. So I said, okay. So I got started. And the first machine that we twisted in an angle, it didn't go in. Because you got to put it, you can't just put shit, you can't levitate shit into a room. You've got angles and things you got to turn and get something monstrous. When you're putting a small room into a room, you have to do it a certain way. And when you take a square and you put it on an angle, it grows. When you take something, you pick it up in the air, and it's only 8 foot high and the ceiling's 9 foot. Yeah, well, when you get that thing on an angle, now it's 9 foot, 6, 9 foot 7, and you can't tip it all the way up because it just won't go up in an angle. So they don't understand things like that. They just look at their CAD drawing and go, it all fits. The measurements work. Well, no, they don't. Not when you start moving things around.
On the computer. So here's the big difference too, RG, is that you had to learn that you didn't have any resource like YouTube to warn you of that. Now people just Google how to do it, and then somebody who's experienced that will forewarn them and be like, oh, okay, I'll make, adjustments so I don't run into this problem. Otherwise,
some old guy was throwing a block at me. He was like, "Did I fucking tell you to do that?" Exactly. Hitting us upside the head with a freaking piece of plywood. Yeah. Oh man, those days, God, the old guys I worked with, they were the real boomers, and you think I'm a grouchy old fucker. Those guys were like, spitting mad and drinking on the job and throwing shit at you. And you
really had to earn your stripes, in a much different way back then, But you had to go to the, you had. Sometimes they would even set you up knowing you were doing something stupid. They let you go through and learn it. They're like, okay, that's how you won't do it again. Because if they forewarn you, you just forget.
So, go get the water hammer. The what? Go get the water hammer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All that kind of shit. Yeah, no, I've been through all that shit. But so there's applied. There's applied knowledge, and then there's knowledge, and then there's applied knowledge, and adjusting to it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what I'm speaking here. Is like. That's what kind of crypto is right now. It's like we've got all this knowledge, now we've got to apply it, and that's what Hex is doing is applying the knowledge of crypto to crypto finally. It's like there's all these things out there, there's all these different emerging technologies, and crypto has come to age. Unfortunately, it was hijacked by the traders and hijacked by the scammers and hijacked by the money makers. But there is application here, and Richard's doing a damn good job of exploiting the application and making it work. He's doing a really damn good job of it.
Yeah, I agree. He's definitely got a vision for what he wants to see come to fruition in crypto. Because he could have bailed on all this a long time ago. He didn't have to do any of this in the first place, including Hex, right? I mean, now the Hex is his, that's the project he really wanted to have his name attached to and become the new front runner in the space. And when he saw these gas fees and when he saw ETH kind of falling on its own dick, he's like, well, I got to do something here, or it's going to be a problem for, the community he's already grown. I mean, how many people really even knew about the S-load function going 3x in price before he mentioned it? I didn't know about that.
Nobody knew about that.
So if he had just bailed on that, he would have said, hey guys, you know what? It's Vitalik's fault, not me. And he could have done that. He could have just said, hey, sorry about your life.
Most crypto founders would have.
And most of them do. Even in the space today, you hear it all the time about, well, it's an Ethereum problem, nothing I can do about it. So, he at least said, you know what, there is something I can do. There's always a solution. And he came up with it. And now he's working on it diligently. And he's funding it too. I mean, he's got devs, he's putting in a lot of work. So, it gives you a lot of confidence that, this is the right place to be. At least for me, I think for most of us in Hex and in the community, understand that, hey, this isn't a fly-by-night flash in the pan type of thing. And again, the proof is just in what's transpired already. It wouldn't be here this long, and none of us would be here talking about it if that was the case at all. Look how much ETH came in on the first couple of days of the AA. That alone at ETH prices today, even if you had no Bitcoin, and just had that's a ton of money. So it could have just, cashed out right there, but hasn't. So that should speak, I think, volumes to everybody who's,
Well, I mean, for those of us that've been around, we understand the value of that because he could have walked a long time ago with it. It could have wrecked itself a long time ago, but we talked about it ad nauseum on all of our streams that, hey, the OA is a good whale. The OA is a good player. The OA is benevolent, and it's here to it does better as being a good actor than it would if it was a bad actor.
Yeah,
it creates more value.
True, and I think people should understand too that the reason things are maybe appear a little bit more elusive in some ways around Hex, as far as attaching names and everything to certain stuff like the OA or whatever, it's because the Howey test. I mean, that's been clearly explained, right? And you see a lot of projects. Look at Ripple right now.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of other things in the space that are going to fall under that hammer. When the investigators come looking, you can see it all over the place. And Hex, again, being, thought out and considering all the angles and all of the things that could be a problem, that's another one where it won't have that issue. So you don't have to really lose any sleep at night over that. There's plenty of others where they could all go away, or it could just cost the project or product a significant penalty, if that was, or exodus from its investors, if it took a turn.
Cuban tweeted he's going on the Ellen show to talk about Doge. Really?
Mark Cuban? Oh, you got to be kidding me. Does anybody even watch the Ellen show anymore?
I don't know.
I didn't think she was still broadcasting. Yeah.
I guess she is.
That's probably daytime TV. Nobody who's going to get into crypto is probably going to be watching anyway.
Well, no, most people in crypto don't watch regular TV anyway, and then I don't know of too many people that probably would watch her show either. So I don't know.
The only problem I have with something like that or with Doge is that a lot of people are just piling into these things, and it's fine if they're making a little money. I know some people that got in. I bought it at 10 cents and now it's 30 cents. And okay, great.
Get out.
But get out. Right? Get out. What will happen is so many people are going to hold too long, and there'll be a massive pullback, and they're going to be left with this worthless bag, or they're going to buy in on the bubble, and then they're going to run screaming and crying for regulators and legislators to help them.
See, that's what I was thinking.
That's what I worry about. Yeah.
I was thinking that this whole Doge thing was like a setup for regulation. It's like, okay, let's pump this Doge thing, and then once we wreck a bunch of people, we could say something needs to be done about this crypto. It was almost like it was the sacrificial crypto. It's what I was, my little conspiracy mind was thinking. It's like, that's about as red pill as I get, I guess. I thought Doge was going to be the regulator bait.
Well, there might be some truth to that from certain parties. I wouldn't put it past them, but I mean, they could come in. Crypto's well known enough now where they could go in and launch a lot of investigations, but they just don't really have the interest of the manpower. I mean, the thousands of cryptos that are in the space that are just garbage or abandoned, or they have no, investors or whatsoever. Nobody's going to bother wasting their time with that stuff because there's no money to be had. There's nothing to really gain. If they just want to make an example, I guess they could use Ripple, as a starting point.
Yeah.
But I do believe, I think it's going to be more of just than one token, though. I think when there's a big collapse.
Yeah. Well, they came after Library too, just recently.
Yeah.
Library, they just came after them too, just recently.
Okay.
Yeah.
People going in, and this is the other thing people don't do, is they go in way too deep and way too hard with crypto with money they cannot afford to lose. We always say, don't invest what you can't afford to lose, but almost nobody does that. They invest way more than they would even in the stock market or in an index fund. That they're like financing their house. We saw it in 2017. People were remortgaging their homes to buy Bitcoin at 20 grand. And then what happened? It crashed and they panicked. And then there was all kinds of, eyes on the space in a very negative way. Yeah. So to hopefully avoid that as a whole, that won't happen as severely this time, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But again, I think Hex will be fine because of the way it's advertised, the way it's described, the way it's designed as a whole. I think I will say this though, I do brace myself a little bit for the PulseChain as far as some pullbacks. I think there's going to be a wave of FUD, no doubt, and there's going to be a confusion. If you look at just the AA alone, that was pretty simple, but a lot of people were sending ETH to the OA address. They were complaining about the AA interface. They didn't follow the simple instructions with that. So going over to PulseChain will probably be, for the veterans, I don't think it'll be an issue, but for anybody else trying to get involved, there's going to be a lot of mistakes.
Oh yeah, there's going to be the bumblers, fumblers, and stumblers that are going to show up. They're going to they're going to make a mess of things and scream, that they got scammed when they really just screwed themselves up or something. I mean, that's a given.
Now, Staker app might be able to help a little bit of that because it is a pretty smooth application. So that may evolve to a point to help new coiners go straight into Hex without all of the 3 left turns to make a right in the ecosystem. That might help a little bit. But we'll just have to see how it unfolds. I'm sure there'll be some growing pains, so I'm not going to panic. Look, when there's people fear the unknown, right? So this is an unknown, uncharted territory.
Yeah.
And not that East's never been forked, but this because it pertains to what we're doing, and it's a different way they're handling the fork, and a whole different system.
Well, there's a lot of different things. I mean, we as Hexagons, because of what Hex did, think that, okay, we're going to have the same type of launch as Hex. Now, I'm not fudding, but what I'm saying is there's going to be anything could happen in crypto right now. Anything could happen. And it's in that weird place again where monster quick moves up or down happen, and how is Hex going to be affected by that if it does move up or down? And Hex has shown itself to be somewhat decorrelated, but in this last dip, we saw a dip too,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know if that was correlated, happenstance, just happened to happen. I don't know. But people, like you said, have to be prepared and can't be selling homes to ape in. Transferring some of your savings money or whatever into crypto, I don't have a problem with people doing that, or measuring their portfolio and taking a portion of it and putting it in crypto. I always warn people, though, man. I've seen so many people get wrecked. Even people that long things. I mean, it takes a dip and it could go on anything that you need in the next 3 to 5 years, or the next 2 to 3 years. Just be prepared to lose it or not be able to touch it for a couple of 2-3 years. I mean,
and if you DCA in a rational way, you really won't have any problems because you're going to buy some low points and you'll buy some higher points as well. But your average purchase price will be comfortable enough where even if there's a flash crash, whatever, it's not going to freak you out. And again, if you didn't put in the rent, you don't need to worry about dumping it right away. The power is always to the person who needs it the least. So, if you're a seller and you're desperate for the money, I'm a buyer, I have the tactical advantage, right? Now, I may not know you're desperate, but if the market is dumping, I might wait for you to just dump your bags at the all-time lows, and then I can just hold it till it runs back up and then sell it back to you at that price. So people trying to play those games have to be a little bit careful. But I think people just get overly anxious, and younger people have more time on their at their disposal anyway. You could DCA in a very small amount of money.
Yes.
And still do quite well. I mean, if you're staked out 5, 10, 15 years, well, what are your options anyway? Right?
Yeah.
What are you going to nuke yourself? I mean, who cares if the price goes down? So what, it goes down.
Yeah, you're holding no matter what.
Yeah, and you're earning. Even I've done the math on the spreadsheets too with the flat price. Even as it stands now, with a decent amount of T shares, you're still making a good return with no, massive wicks up. But I still think Hex has a lot of headroom. But you don't necessarily have to have this 10,000x gain to see real profits. And some like Hex, a lot of people have already seen pretty significant profits with Hex just this far, and still brand new. I mean, it's still fresh. It's right out of the oven. I mean, it's got a long ways to go.
It's got a long ways to go, and it's done well. And any dips have been recovered, and it's continued to stay and show itself as solid.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Right on, Big Pep. Well, I don't want to keep you much longer, man. We're going on a couple hours here.
Oh, we are. Yeah, we probably wrap it up here pretty soon. Yeah.
Hey, did you happen to catch any of the UFC over the weekend? Do you watch UFC?
I did. I went to Winghouse. I watched some of it. I didn't watch the big fight in the end. I watched the first 2 or 3.
Did you see Weidman break his leg?
No, I didn't.
Oh, dude, you got to watch that on YouTube.
All right, I'll have to watch that on YouTube.
Oh, he throws a kick, and he snaps his leg, right? And he doesn't really realize it at first, and he puts his leg back to step back down, and it just fucking tacos on him. Woof. I mean, he just falls down in agonizing pain. Oh my! I hate laughing about it. It was awful. It was one of the most horrendous breaks. I mean, it's just, it was bad. It was really, really bad.
Could be worse than the Joe Theismann, right?
We're talking about a bare leg here, so you get to see the
you see the whole thing. Yeah.
You get to see the whole thing. I mean, it was pretty horrendous. Now there was another fighter that done that before, same type of thing, but he snapped it and the thing kind of spun around. It was pretty bad.
Wow.
But man, I'll tell you what, the main card, Usman. I mean, I don't particularly care for him myself,
right?
But my God, that guy is a beast, man.
Definitely.
Oh my God, he's. That was a brutal knockout.
I'll definitely check it out. I miss the days of Brock Lesnar. Like UFC 100. He was always entertaining. It was a short fight, but it was always a good one to watch.
There are a lot of the good old. I mean, there's some new guys coming up, man. I really like these new guys, and like Khabib was, dude, that guy he's just unbeatable. I loved watching him fight, but yeah, man. Anyway, UFC was on this weekend. And
okay, well, that's worthwhile to look into. I'll definitely catch up on the ones I missed, and I'll check that out. That's good info.
Yep. All right, buddy. Thanks for coming on and hanging out, man. I appreciate you.
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it too. Glad I could finally make it, and we'll do it again sometime.
All right, bro. You take care. Hey, get in the cutthroat room. You've been invited. Everybody's waiting for you to show up.
Oh, and the effing hangouts?
No, the cutthroat room over. Oh, you don't have a Telegram account, do you?
I do, but I don't really use Telegram that often. I never really correspond much on there.
Oh, okay. That's why.
Okay. So what is it? The cutthroat?
We've got our own chat room in there, and that's where all the streamers, all the cutthroats are in there from the show.
Okay, I'll join it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's about 40 people in there, just kind of the streamers and everybody that's part of the show.
Okay. Very good.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks for coming on. Everybody, thanks for hanging.
No problem.
Take care. And go check out Big Pep on Saturday mornings. What are you calling the show now? It's
Big Pep Crypto.
Big Pep.
Oh, actually, no, I changed it back to Big Pep. The YouTube let me change it back to my old name. Yeah, I don't know. I thought they wouldn't let me do it, but I guess enough time went by. They let me just go.
So it's just Big Pep now.
Yeah.
All right, so go over on YouTube's and check out Big Pep on Saturday morning. Have your coffee and listen to that man's brain because he knows what he's talking about.
Thanks.
All right, bro. You take care, man. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you on Wednesday.